Hi, so finally we arrive at cash flow, wherein you will have all the summary of all the sheets falling into it. So let us see how a cash flow is going to look like. Usually it is written down on a complete 36 months because remember you are writing it for 1000 days. So what happens here is you will have to do it on a month basis. Many of them argue saying let us have year on year basis. It's your call, but always advisable to have it on a month basis because the whole of the business plan has been written on month sales, month revenue, month cost to company, and month advertising, and all the expenditures have been taken on month basis. So what happens here in the culmination sheet or the cash flow sheet, the first top rows will be the revenues that are going to be generated by the products, which you can write it on a month. You can easily connect the cash flow sheet to the total turnover sheet wherein you had written down month basis, so that you don't have to keep on coming to the cash flow when you are trying to do XYZ scenarios of the sales forecast or the revenues. So here it is advisable to get your turnover sheet on month basis linked to the cash flow sheet. Now once you have that is where you get the total at the down wherein you have all the revenues that are going to come in for that particular month from the various revenue streams. Next is you need to also bring in the capex component that you had spent in on the day 0 of starting your company. And then below is where you need to write down all your recurring expenditures like your salary, your office expenses, your advertising budgets, then the cost to company, or if there are any other operational expenses. So all those things need to be brought in here. Yes, you can also mention working capital in case if you are into manufacturing sector. For a service sector, do not get involved into asking in for working capitals because that will lead into a lot of other things. Because the investor would like to know when it is a service oriented, the moment you get customer, you do the service. So why do you need a working capital? So to avoid this kind of a situation, better have more amount being pushed into your recurring of expenditures in your salaries, or try to show sales forecast first 5 months as 0 or first 3 months as 0, because that itself will become your working capital when it comes to a service segment. So 3 months you are sure that you have taken care of the salaries. So that way you will not be showing the working capital because you are a service oriented. When it comes to manufacturing, you have to have working capital being shown under expenditures because that is going to cost to the company. So once you have lined up clearly on a month basis for 36 months for each and everything, like for example the salary, you have 36 rows, for office expenditure you have 36 rows. You can easily link the total amount being shown here on month basis to your recurring expenditure of salary which you had written down on a month basis. You can link it to the total of that particular sheet, so that will be easily displayed here. Any changes that you do in your hierarchical or in your recurring expenditures will automatically update here, so you don't have to keep on visiting the sales forecast. That is why it is always advisable to write it in an Excel because it helps you to do many things. Now when it comes down to each and every component and month wise, you will arrive at a particular month where your revenue has overtaken your expenditures. That is the part that is called in as break even operationally. So it's a jargon that is used which some of the non-finance background entrepreneurs should also understand, because when you're talking to an investor, usage of certain words will give him clarity that you also are aware of each and every aspect. So the part where or the month where you have the revenue overtaking your expenditure is what we call it as break-even analysis on an operational manner. Remember, it is entirely different from break-even on the investment. Do not get confused between both, because break-even on investment is the investment that your company has generated in terms of revenue which exceeds what you had invested on day 0. That will take a longer time. It will not happen. So that is where you will see in many cases where you have break-even becomes operationally very easy, but whereas break-even on investment takes a longer duration. So that is the component. Remember, this is also going to give an indication of one more thing that is called as fail fast. Now remember, if you are unable to spend what you have put down in your cash flow, this is the point where my revenue should overtake my expenditure, and if that does not happen in that month, that from there on is where it becomes you need to fail fast, because the moment you still continue in operation, you will slowly start getting into the whirlpool, which will slowly start dragging you down. So that is the point where we call it as fail fast. That is, if you are spending too much on a negative, wherein you are supposed to break even in, let's say, in 18th month, and until 18 months, whatever the amount that has been added in negative, if it is exceeding more than what you have written down, that means you need to fail fast or shut it down, because beyond that, continuation will slowly start pulling you into the whirlpools. So that is where a cash flow is going to be a overall summary indicator. It's like having a speedometer which is connected for its performance on the HP of the engine, the power, the drive, is it a four-wheel, all those things is going to come into culmination into your speedometer to show what is the speed that you are driving the vehicle. The same way, cash flow is going to give you the summation of all your business plan, because it is interlinked to each and everywhere, and it comes at a part wherein you have clarity. Okay, if this sales, this is when I break even. If I increase my sales, I can break even faster. Then is where you can do all your good case, bad case, worst case scenarios. Now remember one thing, whenever you have a break even point which is coming in either in 18 months, 24 months or 34 months, the moment if you are exceeding more than that, that point itself is called as fail fast. So that is how cash flow is going to give you clarity. Now one more clarity that is going to given by the cash flow is how much amount you need to raise. That I'll be discussing it in the next video. Hope you have got it clear. Thank you.